Hello, and welcome back to the English Language Learning Podcast. Today's episode is an unpopular opinion where I share with you an opinion, a thought, pensamento, opinião from the internet, and we explore the English, we review and focus on some vocab, and then finally at the end we ask some questions and have some conversation about the topic or the theme of the opinion. So let's start with the title. American football is too violent in its past and current form. And by the way, you might be hearing some construction from my neighbors. I don't know what you can hear or not hear, but that's Sao Paulo. So, again, the title. American football is too violent in its past and current form. American football is too violent in its past and current form. Let's jump right in to the vocab review. The reading of the opinion, the elaboration. This is from reddit.com. You can find the link in the about or info section on the YouTube page or wherever you're listening to this podcast. So here we go. I want to start off by saying I'm an American who does watch football. However, I am not a fan like I was growing up. It gets increasingly harder with age to watch it, knowing what those spectacular hits are doing to those men. I respect the caliber of athletes that the NFL has, but the NFL in general has a nasty past of promoting ultra violence as a safe, fun activity for children to partake in. I am a father of two boys, and my oldest does play football, although he does know that I'd prefer him not to. I support him and go to his games, but I won't lie, I'm terrified half the time. I don't think children should be playing full contact football. I played all through school and loved it, but I suffer for it today with constant headaches. It's almost easier to watch boxing than football. I think there should be some major rule changes to prevent further brain trauma or life-threatening injuries. Football is a great sport, but watching humans destroy themselves for my entertainment is becoming not my cup of tea. So that is our opinion today. American football is too violent in its past form and current form. In our next segment, you'll hear a breakdown of some of the vocabulary. We can't do all of it, but I try and select the most difficult or strange or unfamiliar words for Brazilian language learners and anyone else who might listen to this. But I'm based in Sao Paulo, so this is focused on Portuguese speakers, specifically Brazilians. And through my classes, with students, I'm trying to select what I believe will be most challenging vocab. So, in the next segment, welcome back. American football is too violent in its past and current form. I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. In our last game, we played against the Philadelphia Eagles. On the first play, the quarterback broke his elbow, left the game injured. Then the next quarterback for the 49ers came in, played for a little while, and got a concussion. And they had no more quarterbacks because their other quarterback is already injured or machucado, tem ferida. And so we had to put in the quarterback with a broken elbow had to go back in the game. He didn't throw the ball. The quarterback is the position that's supposed to throw the ball. He could not because of a broken elbow. So, yeah, that's my recent experience as an American football fan. watching my team get brutalized just 2 weeks ago. And I'm doing this episode a week or a few days before the 2023 Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. So, but coincidence, more or less. Vocab for today, anything in the title, American football is too violent in its past and current form. Futebol americano é violenta demais na forma atual e no passado também. So start off. I want to start off by saying start off is a phrasal verb, and off is OFF, two Fs, not of with one F. Off, start off, OFF. Two words, right? It's a phrasal verb. It's not one word. It just means to start doing something. So, yeah, do you ever really need to use this phrasal verb versus start? Can you just say, I want to start by saying I'm an American who, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, this phrasal verb doesn't have distinct significance or meaning, really, than start or begin. You can say kickoff. Kickoff would have been good, right? Because it would have been American football. You start the game with a kickoff. But they don't use that. So start off, to start, começar. And there's the hammering. I'm not sure if you can hear it about 3 meters above my head. Hot day today. It gets increasingly harder with age to watch American football. Increasingly harder. Increase is aumentar, to go up more and more. Harder, we use this like difficult, difícil. So increasingly harder is cada vez mais difícil, de modo crescente. So he's saying every year, every game, it gets more and more difficult to watch it as you get older, because you're seeing and maybe noticing how brutal the sport is, and the entertainment kind of dissolves, and you start to see the fundamental brutality of the NFL, of the sport, not just the NFL, but the sport. The NFL has its own bad history with not really protecting players and being dishonest, almost like Big Tobacco or Exxon Mobil about climate change, being dishonest about the brain damage, o dano no cerebro dos jogadores. But increasingly harder, more and more difficult. Caliber, 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 quality. And in the sentence, I respect the caliber of athletes that the NFL has. Quality, worth, estatura, stature, merit, merito. I think the word is the same in Portuguese, but the R and the E are switched. So Calibre or Calibre. And I imagine it's pronounced the same, calibre, maybe calibre. Nasty. Nasty, but the NFL in general has a nasty past of promoting ultra violence as a safe and fun activity. So nasty, ugly, fail, bad, mau, ma, not good, ugly, fail. To partake in something, or to partake in the entertainment of the NFL. So same sentence. NFL has a nasty past of promoting ultra violence as a safe and fun activity for children to partake in. Partake. So take, but with par at the beginning, to partake in. This just means to participate in. To participate, to do, participar. Um, old and so partake, will you ever need to use this word? No, you have many other more simple options. Maybe not many, but participate in, to do, or in this case, right, to watch, depending on, in this case, they're talking about to partake, or to play, right? He's talking about, or she, talking about their children partaking in American football. And so play would work here. But participate, participar, I think is the best substitute, which you can use. But people do use this expression, partake in. I will not partake, or I think I may partake. Oldest versus old. This might be basic grammar, right? EST, superlativos. Para fazer adjetivo superlativo, quando você está comparando uma coisa contra categoria inteira das mesmas tipos de coisas, né? So oldest, I am a father of two boys, and my oldest. So he's talking about which one? He's talking about the oldest, the boy who has the idade maior, mais anos, or mais velho. So mais, right? Mais would be the analog, the Portuguese version, which is a word. In English, mais, algum adjetivo, is a conjugation more or less, right? I know we don't use that word for adjectives. For an adjective, you add it at the end. What is it? A suffix. Half the time. Half the time. Metade do tempo. 50% of the time. 50% of the time. Where is that though? Boys always play football. Prefer not to. Well, I'm terrified. He's terrified. I'm terrified half of the time. I'm watching my boy go play football, but it's he's not having a good time. He's not enjoying this. Ele não está aproveitando the experience of watching his child play this sport. He's terrified half of the time. Headaches, dores de cabeça, dor de cabeça, headaches. This is the last phrase of the entire opinion. Football is a great sport, but watching humans destroy themselves for my entertainment is becoming not my cup of tea. Está virando, or está mais no a minha praia. So cup of tea in English is minha praia, sua praia, your cup of tea, my cup of tea, right? To be clear, this would be copo de chá, but the translation is praia, minha praia, my cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea. I don't like to go swimming with sharks on vacation. That's not really my cup of tea. And notice the spoken English, right? Cup of tea becomes cuppa. Cup of tea. Cup of tea. And of usually loses the v. I'm a father of two boys, he says earlier in the article. Father of two boys. So of is a word that kind of loses its voice. It loses its part of its sound, because it's not a very important word when you're communicating something. So in our next segment, we have questions and conversation about American football, about blood sports. In Brazil, the UFC and martial arts are big, very big, and some of the greatest martial artists of all time are coming from Brazil and or Brazilian, right? The NFL, boxing, professional wrestling. Now there's professional slapping. That's not a joke. Não é brincadeira. Tem liga agora profissional com o cabo do Dana White do UFC chamada Slap, right? Ultimate Slap Championship. So coming up, questions and conversation about blood sports and more construction. Our final segment for American football is too violent in its past and current form. We're doing questions and conversation. I will read the questions in Portuguese as well, to give a little bit of assistance to the more beginner levels who might listen to this, que talvez está escutando isso também as pessoas com base, com menos base no inglês. Mas vamos começar. Questions. Do you watch any blood sports? And I mean boxing, UFC, the NFL, or professional wrestling, or professional slapping. Do you watch any blood sports? Why or why not? Você assiste alguns esportes de sangue? Não sei se vocês falam isso em português, mas falamos isso em inglês. Blood sports. All sports can produce blood, yes, but some of them it's more imperative or inerente no jogo, né? I do sometimes watch blood sports. I watch, well, the NFL I watch. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the 49ers. I've been watching my whole life American football. And like most Americans, I love it. UFC, no. I watch some fights because of the drama, and the entertainment of the talking and the pre-game, pre-fight, events. But I don't really care about the UFC or boxing. I've watched a few boxing fights. A big white English dude, Tyson Fury, right? He's fun to watch. Again, he's a very dramatic figure too, so he has an entertainment value. I've watched Conor McGregor, Josie Aldo. But no, I don't follow boxing. I don't follow the UFC. I do not follow professional wrestling. UFC and boxing, it's just not very entertaining to me to watch people just hit each other. If I'm being honest, I will watch a knockout on social media, but I'm not going to watch a fight hoping for a knockout and just waiting and seeing people hit each other again and again. No, it's not interested. I don't have a big moral stance or position or opinion against these things. It's just not entertaining. Number two, do you think the NFL will ever truly enter the Brazilian entertainment market? Why or why not? Se você acha que o NFL de verdade entraria no mercado entretenimento brasileiro. So we have por quê? Sim, por quê não? The NFL exists in Brazil. You can watch it on TV. You have to pay for the channel. But the broadcasters are good. The commentators are great. I've seen people playing American football sometimes in Ibirapuera Park. Tom Brady, right? Mrs. Gisele, or ex-Mrs. Gisele is kind of not an icon in Brazil, but he's conhecido. Mas no do nome Tom Brady. But what do you think? Do you think the NFL will ever truly enter the Brazilian entertainment market? I think it's possible, but I think probably not. I think it will grow and grow in Brazil, but I think there will be a natural limit when you can't really go to a game, and when people can't engage, right? If maybe if they offered it as a free option on cable TV, you can get some fans, right? And then maybe you change the channel to make them pay after you make the fans. But there's a lot of people in Brazil who just can't afford to pay to watch the NFL, especially when they love Brazilian football so much. So I don't think it will. Number 4, have you ever had a concussion? Se você já alguma vez, right? Present perfect. Have you ever had? Se você já tive concussão. Is the right word in Portuguese, concussão? I just did a rough translation in my head, but let me check. Concussion. Concussão. 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 Another word for that? No, that's the main one. Abalou. Yeah. Have you ever had a concussion? Concussion. Se você já tive alguma vez concussão. Me, no. I've never had one. I've played American football, but it was not contact really. It's where you pull someone's flag or tag on their waist, like uma cintura. I played basketball my whole life. Never had a concussion, really. Never, not that I know of. Never had a bad head injury. Nunca tive uma ferida da cabeça. Nunca. Um, our final question, pure speculation. Which sport do you think is the most physically challenging? American football, mixed martial arts, or boxing? Pure speculation. Which sport do you think is the most physically challenging? American football, mixed martial arts, or boxing? I think I would go with. This is tough. I think boxing, you take the maybe boxing or the NFL. I think you take the worst injuries um, to the head, at least the most serious injuries. Mixed martial arts, there's obviously violence, but you tap out, and it's about more submissions than knocking someone's head again and again and again and again and again. American football is it's absolutely necessary to knock heads every single play. Boxing is the same thing, plus the body shots or hits to the body. So I think I got us physically challenging if you're including the treinamento, right, and the practice. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go American football just because of the clear damage that you take to your head every single play, and you play, 18 weeks in a row, plus the preseason, which usually now the preseason is no contact. You're not hitting people really. So I would say American football. Boxing, I'm not really sure over a career how many fights you have. The training must be absolutely insane to be a boxer, but um, I'm just not sure how many times you're going into the ring taking shots to the head because I don't know ignorância do esporte. I don't know much about boxing. So again, especulação puro. O qual esporte você acha o mais desafio fisicamente? Futebol americano, mixed martial arts, não sei como fala isso em português, ou o boxing. That's it for today. Any more comments? Let me see. On American football, yeah, it's very violent. Um, it's changing a little bit every year to be less violent, but I think there was just a report as I'm reading this in February 9th, 2023, that the NFL had its record amount of concussions and it's supposedly getting safer. So that just, not a safe sport. If I had a child, that was. I'm sorry, I missed a question. Let me repeat or go over our final question. If you're a Brazilian child, right? Maybe you don't have a child or a kid, a son or a daughter. Imagine that you did have a son or a daughter. If your Brazilian child told you they wanted to play American football, how might you respond, or how would you respond? Se o seu criança brasileiro te falou, te diz que eles quisessem jogar futebol americano, como você pode responder? Como você responderia a esse pedido? If I had a child who wanted to play American football, I think I would make it a rule that you cannot play tackle football until you are 16 or end of high school. To play flag football with no pads, no tackling. And if they were very good at the sport, there's no reason why they couldn't learn how to play tackle football later. But the basics, the fundamentals of football, I believe you can learn without destroying your body in the process. So maybe learn the game, no big contact. If you're great, all right, go ahead. Play in high school, no colégio. If you're better, great. Play in a semi-pro or university team. If you're still playing and you're still good, then clearly, yeah. I'm not gonna keep my son or daughter. I have a daughter, no son, from playing in the NFL. So, um, despite the physical damage, if they wanted to do that and they were good enough, I would protect their body, probably for many years, and then ultimately, yeah, go ahead. It is your body, by the way. So that is it for today. American football is too violent in its past and current form. Give me your thoughts and opinions, criticisms. Se você quer que eu faça mais disso ou menos disso, please give me the comments. Inscrever or subscribe on the YouTube page. And we're going to keep this thing going as long as I have a computer and the programs to edit. So probably forever, for better or worse. Hopefully for you, this is helpful for your English practice and exposure. Muito obrigado.